I can't believe he's here! On a mission of justice!
The following contest is a submission match. And from every man's nightmare, weighing in at 259 pounds, the man called Sting!
When a man's heart is full of deceit, it dies and a dark shadow falls over his soul. This is Sting. From the rafters to the ring, there is only one. No, there are actually two, Byron. There's only one in our business.
The vigilante justice of Sting has come to WWE. Did you ever think you'd see the day that Ric Flair was in WWE?
It is a surreal event, and it's happening right before our very eyes.
And from Charlotte, North Carolina, weighing in at 245 pounds, the Nature Boy, Ric Flair!
I can't believe what it must be like to live the lifestyle of Ric Flair.
We can only imagine. That's as good as it's gonna get. But we do have the pleasure of watching the man himself walk that aisle, do what he does best, and maybe if you're lucky, we'll get an invite to the after party at the penthouse downtown.
Sting arrived in the NWA and didn't waste time issuing a challenge to Nature Boy Ric Flair. During a scheduled interview on television, Flair decided to make his response in person, and that's when things got out of control.
Flair could not believe Sting had the audacity to call him out for the World Heavyweight Championship. Sting's intensity and athleticism was the perfect match for Flair's deplorable tactics as the dirtiest player in the game.
The thing about this match is I can't envision these competitors ever giving up. It's just not in their DNA.
Talking about the conflicts between Sting and Ric Flair, Byron, these rivals clashed hundreds of times. Flair even recruited Sting to be a member of the Four Horsemen just to betray him. That's one way to eliminate a rival, right, Corey?
Yeah, the Flair-Sting rivalry raged on for 13 years. It was fitting that what started at the first Clash of Champions in 1988 set off the first episode of Nitro in 1995. It was the very last WCW match ever in 2001. Now that is a rivalry, fellas.
He's inflicting some serious pain here. Facebuster.
Momentum not on the Nature Boy's side. He's going to want to make sure this doesn't snowball out of control.
One of the things a superstar who's competing in a submission match has to be careful of is if they have an injury or have been injured in the past and people know about it. You can bet in a submission match that your opponent is going to target that body part immediately. It's like having a giant bullseye on an arm, leg, ankle, or shoulder.
Disqualify this man.
Byron, you brought up that a submission match can be especially dangerous for a competitor who's injured or had a known injury. I think that's why it's just as important in a submission match to be able to reverse the submission move from an opponent as it is to apply a submission maneuver to an opponent. If a superstar can't reverse an opponent's submission, then they're certainly going to be in trouble.
Some superstars have more than one submission at their disposal, and it becomes a pick-your-poison scenario for their opponent. It also depends on the match. Some submission matches are based on winning via a submission move, and others involve a competitor having to use the specific submission they've... Stinger splash! No one does it better.
He's looking good now, guys. This is Sting's chance.
That could break a nose.
Looks like Ric Flair is fading here. He needs to find a way to get on the offensive, guys.
It's not in his DNA to quit. But come on, he's taken quite a beating here. He may have
The Scorpion Deathlock.
Can he finish the job?
Things have gotten worse for Ric Flair. I wouldn't be surprised if he just passes out right here.
No, he releases the hold.
What in the world is he thinking? Does he not want to win?
Bulldog!
Bad move there.
I don't know what made him think that was a good idea.
How's he getting away with this is beyond me. I don't like the look in his eye here, folks.
Look out!
The human body can only absorb so much of that. That landed perfectly. This is what makes him one of the best in the business.
Stinger splash. No one does it better.
This one is over.
Momentum is fully in the corner of Sting now. In a submission match, the name of the game is to make your opponent tap out from a submission move. There have been so many submission specialists throughout the history of this great business. Bret Hitman Hart, Kurt Angle, Brock Lesnar, William Regal, and Daniel Bryan are a few who come to mind. And on the women's side, I think about Alundra Blaze, Natalya, Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, and the boss, Sasha Banks.
Corey, earlier you spoke about a submission match, and one thing I'd like to point out is that a submission match is not necessarily the same as an I Quit match. The key difference is that a submission match requires the use of the submission maneuver. In an I Quit match, victory can be achieved by bringing your opponent to the point where they quit as a result of the overall punishment they've received in the match.
That's an important distinction, Michael, especially since a superstar can win an I Quit match by using a submission maneuver. For superstars who aren't proficient in submission moves, they enter this type of match at a disadvantage. It doesn't mean they can't win, but they need to perfect applying the submission move quickly. Come on, Corey, try and keep up. When we talk about submission matches, we have to speak about one that, in many people's eyes, set the standard. It was WrestleMania 13. Bret the Hitman Hart was in a heated rivalry with a brash star on the rise named Stone Cold Steve Austin. This match started like no other submission match, with the two superstars battling in the crowd and attempting to use ring steps as a weapon.
Byron, you mentioned the submission match between Bret Hart and Steve Austin at WrestleMania.
Here comes Stinger splash. No one does it better.
The Nature Boy is in a tough spot here.
At this point, you have to figure that the next person to apply a submission will win.
Scorpion Deathlock! Game, set, match. This one is over.
Nobody on the roster stretches an opponent quite as effectively.
This singles contest has a victor.
A lot of action in that match. Let's have a look.
I can watch highlights of that one all night long. One of the great WWE matches I've ever been able to watch. That was just one of those matches that the men involved should just be proud to be a part of. A legendary performance.
Here is your winner, the man called Sting!
Tremendous showing tonight for Sting.
I feel like a little Stinger all over again. When you get a one-on-one match like that, you hate to see one of them come up short.